Here we go. Ready, set. What is going on, guys? Joey here. And today, I didn't really know what video to do. So we ended up coming with a bunch of topics. And the one that I felt like talking about today because it was on my mind. Like I was already sort of developing thoughts on it. This we might go over is basically it has to do with this comment here that I left on Russ's post. This statement is actually okay. So let me hit Russ's post. Powerlifter with bodybuilding tendencies. Right. Shout out to Berto and my brother for commenting. So I said on Russ's post, this statement is actually incredibly deep and holds a lot more keys and potential than 4 words and an emoji. A powerlifter that's meticulous like a bodybuilder is hard to beat. Fuck did I mean by that? What did I mean by that? So I think we have to somewhat very loosely define what is the powerlifting or typical stereotypical powerlifting mentality. I actually pulled up an article on the left because I wanted to reinforce what I had previously thought. I think the old school powerlifting mentality is that, you know, typically you have this big guy that goes in the gym and he lifts heavy weight, and then he eats a lot, and he's not the leanest guy, and he just has like a ton of work ethic and, you know, never back down sort of mentality. This sort of just like you go into the day and you just commit that you're gonna lift a certain amount of weight no matter what. Even if it's heavier than you should, you just want to lift it. You just gotta lift it, and you never back down. And you know, so what if you're injured? Just train and just, you know, train hard, right? That's that kind of like old typical powerlifting mentality. Always lift more weight, you know, not necessarily the smartest way. That's just like an old style of doing it, right? The bodybuilding mentality is it's a little bit more. You can have some of those tendencies, but I feel like, in my opinion, bodybuilders are a lot more sort of methodical. They use almost like a scientific approach. They're very heavily focused on nutrition. Recovery is a big thing, as you guys can see here. You know, they will look at the body, kind of see what they're missing, and then sort of focus on those areas or try to bring those things up. Obviously, the goal is to grow muscle. Rest, recover, nutrition is huge. I'm going to turn this volume down a little bit because the music's kind of loud in my ears. Rest, recover, and at the end of the day, it's all about the end goal, right? Doing everything that you can every day, little by little, piece by piece, to bring yourself to this point on stage, right? Because we're talking about bodybuilding. Where through countless hours of dieting, tracking variables, bodybuilders, like especially of old, I feel that they definitely tracked a lot more variables than the powerlifters of old, right? Powerlifters, they would just like take some drugs, work really hard, lift a lot of weight, and like just get stronger. And like, I don't know if it's the drugs or if it's, you know, a little bit of genetics, the fact that they eat so much. Like, if you take X amount of supplements and you eat a ton of food and you lift a lot, you know, heavy all the time, with the correct supplements, you're just gonna get stronger, right? And you could kind of get away with not paying attention to like tiny little things. When it comes to bodybuilding, you could probably do a lot of those things, but when it comes to the diet portion of it, you know, it's very, you have to be very meticulous. It is not you're not going to accidentally get insanely lean. And you could argue that you probably could, and if you could, like if you did it the same way getting lean, you probably end up dead, right? That's why a lot of bodybuilders die, because they end up you know, just biting off a little bit more than they should. So I think that powerlifters should have a little bit more of a bodybuilding mentality when it comes to just taking care of your body, resting, building yourself up. We'll look at like bench press, for example, right? you have your bench press. If you have like really weak triceps and shoulders, but your pecs are pretty overdeveloped and you feel good with a nice wide grip, maybe you should supplement that bench with some movements to help increase the size of the muscles associated. The number one thing that's going to benefit your bench is bench, right? But it wouldn't hurt to do those extra things. It also, it feels good. Injury prevention, right? Let's say you get in a misgroove or something, you have a bad handout, whatever, and you're lifting heavy weight. Because you have underdeveloped triceps or shoulders, you end up getting hurt. It's not going to hurt you to have more muscle on your body, right? It definitely can make you more stable. There are movements outside of the big three that can benefit you. To what extent? I believe the more developed you get in the big three, the less those things become impactful. I guess you could argue, like, let's say you have a problem keeping your glutes on the bench. If you put 200 pounds on your squat and you have bigger glutes, you're probably going to keep your butt on the bench. Same thing with deadlift, whatever. I've always been a firm believer that having a strong back, building your back up is going to help all three. Now, in terms of like rowing motions, right? Rowing. What is that? How you're not lifting weight rowing. Doing a rowing motion, there's no power lift that involves bending at the elbows and pulling things towards you, right? You do not bench with your back. Like having big lats might help with stability somewhere here or there, but it's your pecs, triceps, and shoulders, anterior delts that are moving the weight. But by having a bigger, stronger back, having stronger rectors, you can become more stable, right? I'll never forget many, many moons ago, I took a couple days off after a meet, and I went right back into training, and I was doing my sets of 9 like I do. I like doing that for reasons. It really taxes your core, and I was very sore in my obliques, right? On the sides of my core. I was really sore there. That just reminded me that although I'm pressing with my pecs, shoulders, and triceps, I am using other areas to help stabilize the bench. I was just telling Tina that I was sore here, and the only thing different that I did to my regimen that particular day was I did some overhead pressing. Not like a standing overhead press, but seated. Is that going to help me bench 500 pounds? Probably not, but it doesn't hurt. It can be seen as a form of recovery. So I do think building these sort of auxiliary areas, kind of like a bodybuilder, can help with powerlifting. But yeah, having a big back on deadlift, if you have a more compact, strong back, you're probably going to be more stable throughout the entire motion of your conventional deadlift, your sumo deadlift, whatever. In my opinion, the conventional deadlift is probably one of the best builders in general. Just like if I could pick one lift to build the most amount of muscle, and I've never seen a really, really strong conventional deadlifter that didn't also have a somewhat of a decent squat, right? They probably because they train squat, but when I remember many moons ago when I got hurt and I wasn't doing squats, I hurt my knee. I just deadlifted for like months. I think I did like six weeks of only deadlifts. I couldn't squat. And then when I could squat again, it was like I didn't really lose much. You know what I'm saying? So having a big back is important. Obviously, bodybuilders train back. Just being more willing to pay attention to detail and thinking to work smarter, not just like bull. You can't bulldoze being a good powerlifter, right? Maybe, like I said, with supplements, it changes everything. You can get away with fucking anything. But you're not going to bulldoze, being consistent and becoming better and better consistently over time. Unfortunately, this old type of mentality coming up, a lot of guys that sort of embrace that, I could name like 5 people right now that started out they were flying out the gate, right? Tons of momentum, super strong. And then they fizzled out because they didn't play the long game. They weren't taking care of themselves. We have done so many videos now on tracking outside variables. All bodybuilders been doing that. That's like an old bodybuilder thing. You know what I'm saying? All that extra stuff, they already know all of that. I feel like powerlifters are just now starting to understand how important it is to treat yourself like an athlete. You know, you want to have somewhat of a decent fitness level. If you can't do your sets of 8, you can't do 4 sets of 5. If you can't do 9 singles in a meet, if you get tired by deadlift, you are out of shape, my guy. You are out of shape. You're training, you got to do something, you know? But again, that has to do with energy balance. Bodybuilders are very good at energy balance. I mean, dieting is manipulating energy balance to create a caloric deficit, right? Your body's going to let go of some body fat. Everybody's spamming supplements in the chat. He's trying to supplement. But yeah, guys, I just think what Russ said here was really good. Powerlifter, bodybuilding tendencies. Honestly, I think this is the new. It's not even the new wave for people that are in the know, but for people that are successful in the space of powerlifting. I think, like I said here, it is very hard to beat a powerlifter that is developed, right? They don't have weaknesses. They take care of themselves. They know how much they're eating. If I tell Russ I need you in a deficit, he probably knows what it is for him. He could just be in it. You know what I'm saying? Get that slight deficit going. Start training. You know, and then just give it time. You're not going to bull rush a diet. You're not going to bull rush, you know, being the best powerlifter that you can be. It's going to happen slowly over time. Kind of like bodybuilding is like super, like the rewards you're going to get from bodybuilding are going to happen way less frequently. That could be debated, but I would say they happen less frequently than versus a powerlifter, right? And for example, if I get a new person and we're running on, you know, they got optimized training, they got a little bit of new games going on, they're gonna be progressing week to week. Gratification, validation, gratification, validation, gratification, validation. A bodybuilder, they may not see the scale move for 2-3 weeks, you know. For them, it's just going to be relentless execution and knowing that their bodies, they might not see something in the mirror happen right away. You know what I mean? It might take a little bit of time. And for us, we just watch a number on the bar go up. Boom. Boom. Validation. You know, you hit a big single, whatever. You might not even hit a PR. You just take a big single that's like above average and you feel better about yourself. So I really think, like I said, the takeaway from this video, I really think that a lot of powerlifters should. You really don't lose anything from studying bodybuilding because some of those principles do apply. They are a lot similar than I think than people think. I think like all training is hypertrophy. All training is gonna help grow muscle. Certain styles are better than others, but like just more practical, right? 10 sets of 3 versus 3 sets of 10. Obviously, I'd rather do 3 sets of 10 than 10 sets of 3. One is going to make you stronger. That's an old study. But yeah, just play the long game. Think like a bodybuilder. Take care of yourself. Let me get a hashtag. Take it slow. Hashtag take it slow in the comments below. Thank you, YouTube boys, for being here. Yeah. Talk to you guys in the next one. Peace. All right, brothers. I don't need to save that. Is mayonnaise a supplement? Yes. Bodybuilders need to track more variables, as in it's more necessary. If you just wing your calories, you're not going to be able to get in your best shape for comp and bodybuilding. Muscle trumps genetics every time. Haven't ever seen somebody with a strong bench that has a small back.